questions from the press to Sean Spicer about immigration reform and specifically what next steps President Trump will take. What can you tell us?
Well, obviously, this is a huge issue for companies, for tech companies, pharmaceutical companies, telecom companies. So a lot of interest in this area. On the H-1B visas, these are the visas that are given to high-skilled foreign workers. He didn't rule out taking any action on that. He said the president's looking at this. He'll consider any actions he could take, whether executive orders or legislatively. There's a draft of an executive order that's been going around that would, obviously these drafts could change, but that would sort of give the president, he would give authority for the agencies to then direct companies to hire the most skilled American workers first. And if you can't find an American worker, then you can get an H-1B visa. But the language around that's still a little unclear.
Okay, so real quick before we go to Greg Shannon, what exactly, I guess, does the executive order on Friday look like the rules imposed today? Because, of course, there's been some backtracking here. Is that largely in the green card element?
Oh, so you mean around the executive order that was issued on Friday?
Yeah, exactly.
and the issue around green? Yeah, so there was a lot of confusion Friday and into Saturday about whether or not green card holders from these countries were affected. And I was working those days. My colleague Justin Sink was working those days. We were going back and forth trying to figure out and different arms of the White House were telling us different things. I believe where things have settled and all subject to change is that green card holders are now just sort of subject to a little an extra layer of screening, an extra interview. Green card holders from those countries are still allowed back into the U.S., but they do have to go through a little bit of an added layer of screening, which could be a few-hour interview, but it's probably not going to be detained, for days or sent back to the country they came from, which is what the concern was initially around this.
Greg Stohr, let's bring you into the conversation. During the press briefing, which is still taking place, Sean Spicer says President Trump is 100% sure of his Supreme Court pick. And this is an announcement that will take place tomorrow. Will it be done through tweet, through a news conference? Do we have any sense?
We expect him to hold a news conference. Donald Trump seems to want to make a big show out of this. That's normally what presidents do. A tweet would be sort of a surprising way of introducing somebody he apparently is going to be very proud of.
Greg, when we look at the speculation for who this could be, he's dropped a few hands. Scarlett earlier mentioned, said it's somebody that evangelical Christians are going to like. What does that tell you?
Well, we know that he's down to two people. There's Judge Neil Gorsuch of the Federal Appeals Court in Denver and Judge Tom Hardiman of the Federal Appeals Court. He sits in Pittsburgh. They are both pretty conservative. Judge Gorsuch has written a book arguing against the legalization of assisted suicide and euthanasia. Both of them have pretty deep conservative roots, both in their rulings and in Judge Hardiman's case, political contributions.